What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today's video we're going to be talking some NFL football, some quarterbacks who just got paid. There's been some players that are holding down in training camp, and some of the players that we're going to talk about, they weren't, but some quarterbacks got a bag, and a lot of players are getting paid right now. Tua Tagovailoa got paid a big bag to stay with the Miami Dolphins, and a lot of people have made a good point that the Miami Dolphins didn't really have a choice. A lot of people fear that Tua is not the guy that can lead them to a Super Bowl. He's not good enough. That's what a lot of people think. I think Tua is a little underrated. I know he does have his flaws. He's not a perfect quarterback. But I think in the system of Mike McDaniel, who I think is one of the best offensive minds in football, I think he can still do really well. They were a good regular season team. He just needs to figure out in the postseason. I will say playing in the freezing cold, because I remember that game last year versus the Chiefs, was not a pleasant one to watch. And you know, them being in Miami, they're not used to that, so it's not an excuse. But I think we should give Tua more time. The bag that he got, I'm not necessarily a fan of, but also you have to realize that the Miami Dolphins didn't really have a choice but to give him this bag. And then another guy that got a huge bag is Jordan Love, who had a big year one as a starting quarterback for the Packers. He looked great. They had some good playoff success, a very young team, and they have some high expectations moving forward, especially him. I really love Jordan Love's game. I think you can see a lot of Aaron Rodgers in his game. I didn't honestly expect him to be as good as he was. I remember last fall camp, a lot of people were talking about him high, how he was doing well in fall camp and in practice. And he is a good enough player to play and be, you know, a top 10 quarterback one day. I think he can achieve it. He was so good in the postseason. He just made a few mistakes here and there, and they were right there to beat the 49ers, I believe, was the team that they lost to, but they were close to really going far in the NFC, and who knows what would have happened if they would have beat the 49ers. Tua's contract is a 4-year, $212.4 million deal. So Tua is getting paid a humongous bag. And I can actually tell y'all, I think it's like 55 a year or something. That's kind of crazy. I don't know if it's backloaded or not, but it's kind of a crazy contract, obviously. But, you know, like I said, they didn't really have a choice. And when you don't have a choice, you kind of have to just roll with the numbers and realize that they don't have another quarterback that can play, you know, that is better than Tua. They really don't have no other option unless they trade for someone, which the market is not great at quarterback for trade-wise, or they have to draft someone, which would have to be next offseason. Jordan Love's deal is a 4-year, $220 million deal. 2 contracts that those players got put them in the top 5 for highest paid quarterbacks, in the realm of Joe Burrow, who's making $275 million, which I think he got that last offseason, if I remember. And then it's Tua's second with $212. And then Justin Herbert, $262. These 2 contracts that these players got, Tua and Jordan Love, are huge. I mean, they're huge to the NFL because top of the quarterback list for, you know, the best quarterbacks in terms of paid wise in the league. I mean, Joe Burrow is making $55 million a year. Tua is making $55. Trevor Lawrence is making $53. Jared Goff's making $53. Justin Herbert, 52, Lamar Jackson, 51, Jalen Hurts, 46, Kyler, 46. Big step up for those guys. There's some good names in here. Also, I just realized that the quarterback position, I think in NFL, you may have to overpay nowadays because, you know, the quarterback position, I think, has kind of, you know, there's elite guys, and there's some good, solid quarterbacks, but there's a lot of quarterbacks that aren't up to standard that I feel like that position has kind of taken a little bit of downhill where you don't see as much elite play, and maybe that's due to defenses and how complicated defenses can get. But some of these guys, I'm not saying they're bad players, but to be ahead of a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who is the best quarterback in the league, Josh Allen, there's so many names that these guys are ahead of, which, like I said, no disrespect, these guys are some good quarterbacks ahead of them, but you know, you don't really see the top guys making the most money. I mean, Joe Burrow is a top guy, Jalen Hurts is up there, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson as well is up there. So, you know, there is the fair share of top guys, but I think it's just kind of disappointing that we don't, you know, see those guys up there. And you got to credit Patrick Mahomes because he did take a pay decrease, and, you know, Josh Allen, I don't remember when he got his new deal, but I'm sure he'll get one in the next few seasons. So, and then I saw this post by Adam Schefter on Twitter. He said, or X, whatever you want to call it, Dan Marino made $51 million in his whole career. That's his earnings. Dan Marino's one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game, and he made $51 million in his whole career, which I don't remember how many seasons Dan Marino played, but quite a bit. And Tua is making 53. So Tua in one season is making more than Dan Marino did his whole career, which is incredible. And another post I saw on Twitter, the Packers have made two different quarterbacks the highest paid quarterback in NFL history over the last two seasons. That's also incredible. You know, Aaron Rodgers and then Jordan Love. The Packers have really, I don't know if it's lucky or they're just really good at developing quarterbacks, but to go from Aaron Rodgers to a young prospect, looks very bright future Jordan Love is incredible. I can't believe they made that transition so easy. It just ups the standard in the NFL, though. A lot of guys are going to want to get paid even more now at the quarterback position. You know, Patrick Mahomes has every right. You know, if Tua is making 53 a year, you know, Patrick Mahomes could ask for 60, 65. So could Josh Allen. It ups the bar a lot at the quarterback position. I remember there was a rumor about a month ago that they're like, oh, we want to individualize the salary cap for the quarterback position. They want to make it different in terms of, like, the quarterback is on a different salary cap than the rest of the team. I think that's kind of stupid in my opinion, but there's been thoughts of that stuff because the money is going to continue to grow, and I'm happy that quarterbacks are getting paid. I wish some other positions got the equal kind of pay, like running back. They do running backs dirty in the NFL. I mean, their mindset, the NFL's like front office, it's a little messed up, but you gotta understand the business side. But they know they can replace running backs fairly easy, so they're not going to pay running backs big bags, which is kind of disappointing. But it's really incredible that, you know, guys like Trevor Lawrence, who I wouldn't call an elite quarterback, or Tua, I think those guys, it's kind of weird that they're making that much money, and I'm glad they are. But yeah, that'll do for me. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.